Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first weekend of the Smite Pro League. We're here back in 2015 following the Smite World Championship, and there's so much to gain here as we go through that the entire year. My name is Dry Bear, and I'm joined today by Sir F. Dot.
Yes, you are. How you guys doing? How am I doing? I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking, by the way. How are you doing, Rory?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, this is kind of like a temporary thing, stepping in. We have some of our esports boys out at PAX right now, stepping downstairs and kind of hopping into the casting ring. So we're going to do this weekend. But there's a lot of things going on with Season 2. Obviously, different characters, a little more popular, different gods, right? Xbalanque is all up there. We got some pretty good diversity, I think. So I'm really excited to see how they play it and the difference between the qualifiers and the Smite Pro League.
Hit the nail on the head right there. That's what I'm very curious to see. I'm really interested to see how the thought process from teams will change from the qualifiers on, because this is something that we talked about last year with the inception of the SPL, is that now teams have a schedule, they know who they're playing, and it's a set of threes. That's what SPL is. So we're going to have a North American set, we're going to have a European set, and it's a best of three. Right now, why don't we take a look at the European scene and take a look at the teams that are a part of that. And right there, up at the top, we have upcoming stars.
That's right. So this is basically who has made it into the European Smite Pro League. They're number 2, the old TSN. We've got TRIG Esports down below them. Titan, you know them, you love them, you saw them at the SWC. Team Dignitas, not the ones from North America that you're used to seeing, of course. London Conspiracy, and of course down there at the bottom, SK. No, I'm sorry, that's Fnatic getting picked up there. So definitely some big names and a lot of talent here.
Yeah, so as Dry Bear alluded to, we've had a little bit of a shift around the scene. So some familiar faces with new names. The old SK Gaming, the team featuring Reels, X, and friends, are now known as Fnatic, and upcoming stars actually doesn't feature Qin. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but let's take a look at today's games.
Well, let's look at the weekly schedule here as well. You see what's going to happen here. So March 7th, that's today. You're going to see MM up against Denial, of course, from North America. EU will see Dignitas up against TRIG Esports. Tomorrow, Sunday, you will be seeing Enemy Esports up against Cognitive Gaming for North America. Down there in Europe, you've got London Conspiracy up against Upcoming Stars. And, of course, later this week on Thursday, it's going to be MM again up against Cognitive Gaming in North America. And Dignitas will get their chance to play again up against the Upcoming Stars.
Yeah, North America's seen a little bit of a swap as well. Enemy Esports is the team formerly known as Busters, and Complexity has renamed themselves to
Melior Morior.
I was actually going to test you on that.
Okay.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Probably not right, but, you know, we're trying. Let's go ahead and check out the profile for TRIG Esports. We've seen these guys over the last 2.5 years of Smite gaming, and they've definitely kind of held it together. With some new additions, of course, you got Funballer and Zalia joining the team from older rosters, but definitely a very, very strong lineup to look at.
Yeah, I mean, this basically is the combination of the old Team Solo mid, Lobster, Cubo, Fred, and Trix Tank, and the old Fnatic, Zalia, and Funballer. Both of the stronger sides of the teams coming into one team called TRIG Esports. Is a huge initiative, getting buzz all over esports, not just Smite. So a lot of eyes on this team in particular, and they're coming into this as the #1 team in the qualifiers, and they're very excited to show if they can contend against the big boys of Titan and Fnatic.
I like seeing Funballer being tossed up here. I mean, he's always been one of my favorites, and he used to do the old on-her double stacking no boots build where you just sit in lane. It's like, if you run, I'm never going to catch you, but if you're going to fight me, I will mess you up. So we'll see him go through that. But Team Dignitas is their opponent today. Let's check out their profile and see what they're made of here. On the screen, you can see a lot of familiar faces. Young Bay on the right side there. But of course, Variety, Frezio, Frostiak, and Shadow Nightmare. These have all been around for a very long time, and as you can see, they've made it into the SPL with relative ease.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things about this, you mentioned Funballer. I'm going to go ahead and mention Young Bay. Keep in mind, this is the matchup we're going to take a look at today, TRIG Esports versus Team Dignitas. And I think one of the biggest differences between these two squads is that Hunter position. You've got Funball, who is very aggressive, likes to play gods like Honor, as you mentioned. Chrono sometimes. Young Bay, on the other hand, known for a little bit of passivity. His Neath has fallen out of favor. We're going to look and see basically Xbalanque and Cupid, maybe some other flavor picks. So that play style will be the thing differentiating these two hunters, and that's really what I'm going to look at. I'll be looking towards the duo lane.
Generally, you like to see Young Bay kind of get that. He likes to be involved early, right? He likes to play those kind of lane dominator characters that scale into mid and late. Whereas you look across the way, Funballer, he can definitely play mages. He can play
Oh, yeah.
late game carries that don't really have good lane presence. And really, the way Season 2 has been working out, there's a lot of strong counters in the Hunter role. I'm curious to see what they decide to pick out here. But it's a pretty big day today, the start of the SPL. So, of course, all you watching at home or wherever it is you are in the world, go ahead and join in on the conversation. We've got a lot of fun going online. So, at Smite Pro is the hashtag or the Twitter account you want to tweet at to join in on the fun. And let us know what you think about the games. If something happens, right, you see a quadra kill come out, just go ahead and shoot it out at Smite Pro and definitely show us what you're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. All the hashtags and stuff. Hashtag SPL, as Dry Bear said, at Smite Pro. All of that will get you involved in the conversation.
That's right.
So it's going to be much more than just us two. But now, without further ado, let's start Season 2, ladies and gentlemen. Season 2, SPL is beginning, and your first matchup is going to be TRIG Esports in blue on your left versus Team Dignitas in red on your right.
The bans are coming out here. You see those in the center of the screen, left and right. Emir is going to be gone out here for TRIG in response. It's a fast Cirquette going away. She's got a lot of presence throughout the entire game. We generally see a lot of supports and jungles picked up in the banning phase just because, you know, it really can influence the early 10 minutes, how they play. Emir, very aggressive, obviously, and Cirquette can really kind of lock down those mid camps.
Now, you see this Poseidon ban come out, but you take a look at that Ymir, and you were talking about supports and jungle bans. Now, Frezzy, Ymir can play support. But this is a jungle bandit Frostiak. For those of you unfamiliar, Frostiak on Exposed Secrets and later Fnatic was just renowned for his Ymir jungle play, really able to milk this character for what it's worth. I think it's very powerful. It does tend to be a mid-game dominant god, but Frostiak is very scary with it. So with that, we're going to see the red team ban out Shibalanki, one of the strongest picks right now in the Hunter lane. First pick goes over to TRIG, and they're going to select Thor.
I like the Poseidon ban here. Now, Poseidon's main strength, and obviously he's got good lane clear. He's got dominance in the lane. He's got a good transition to mid-game. His team fights are strong, but really why people don't like going against Poseidon is because of his rotational power. He is the fastest rotator across from Giannis with the ultimate to get to lane and back across the map. It's very, very quick. It's hard to deal with. And a lot of times most mids can't keep up with that, so it turns into a 3v2 in that long lane. Cupid instantly picked up knowing Shibalanki is gone and knowing that there's no one that's going to be able to stop him in that laning phase, but of course will fall off towards the later stage of the game. Athena locked in, definitely one of the strongest, if not the strongest support in Season 2 right now, and back over to TRIG to see what they want to pick up.
I think it's just a god that excels, you know, regardless of the season. Her taunt is one of the better setup moves in the entire game. Forces you not only to attack her, but move towards you. And the global ult, as you just said, just, are you in the wrong spot? The answer is never yes, because you can be wherever your team needs help with that ultimate. So
talking about fast rotations, talking about Athena there.
Talking about Poseidon, Athena just hop, skip, and a jump. Ra and Bakasura picked up for TRIG Esports. Bakasura almost undoubtedly going into the solo lane on Zelia, one of his more premier gods.
You know, I like Bakasura, and he's really become a super strong solo laner. In fact, he's almost never picked in jungle. He's just dominant in the solo lane. You know, with the solo lane slowing down a bit going into Season 2, it really benefits Bakasura because he's got so much control. And honestly, Aphrodite's a pretty strong pickup against him, but not many players like playing her anymore, and she doesn't really have as much presence in the mid game as you'd like. Arachne locked in here for Team Dignitas, most likely going into the jungle or solo. I mean, actually, Arachne's solo is pretty strong up against Bakasura, so we could see variety picking this up here.
The Arachne pick is definitely a little interesting. As you said, we've seen it here and there and virtually, you know, everywhere. But going up against the Bakasura in the solo lane would be rather interesting. Bakasura versus Arachne, it's a matchup that is dependent on the players, really.
It's boxing power.
It is.
Arachne can heal off the venomous bite, and then Bakasura can heal off eat minion. But if they box, Arachne can sometimes win that with the spiders.
Yeah, that one is very player dependent. So we're going to see if she goes in that solo lane, it will be all about player confidence. Bakasura is a character, as you said, you mentioned control. You're just not allowed to leave the lane.
That's right.
You leave the lane, Bakasura takes your towers. And with that, teams take away 2 more gods in the second round of banning. Artemis being banned out from the red team on the side of Team Dignitas. So they're going to force TRIG Esports into a niche pick. They're going to try and force them into something interesting on the Hunter. Well, Giannis, more one-size-fits-all, banned by TRIG.
Ice is picked up here. I like that. And honestly, you've got the Thor dunk, right? Bakasura ultimate. A lot of stand-and-fight AoE initiations. If they pop Ice ultimate on top of that, they can counter-initiate very easily with a big burst, as well as a big burst of healing for their team. So I'd like to pick up here from Dignitas. Now, across the way, TRIG needs a Hunter here. Shibalanki, Cupid, and Artemis off the table. Some of the best characters in Season 2.
Yes.
They've got some options here of who they want to go for. Rom's still very prominent. On her rarely ever gets picked here. The Freya, I would imagine, would be their hunter here, just given Funballer being the man that he is in counter to Cupid. So we'll see how that scales upward. And I think that's good because Cupid's level 1, 2, 3 push is not that great. He has to stack up the wave, the Heart Bomb. And I think that Freya's weak a little bit as well. And they're going to pick up a Hercules.
Hercules is a god that a lot of people talk about. We see frequently in the solo lane. Sometimes Anister takes him out in the jungle. Freya is a god that we haven't seen or spoken much of in Season 2. In that hunter role, though, you think about what that purple buff does. Purple buff provides attack speed, and it provides additional damage on basic attacks. So that just, it synergizes so incredibly well with Freya. And one of the arguments against Freya in the hunter role for a long time was the lack of clear, but as you said, that's not really a hunter thing anymore, especially going up against Cupid, who has a less than stellar lane clear.
One of my favorite things as well is Cupid's cripple from the ultimate is not going to stop Freya's ultimate. So Freya can very easily fly up in the air, bomb on Cupid. In fact, the exchange there could go either way depending on how well Cupid plays here on Youngbei. I love the Mercury pick. This means that it's going to be Arachne solo up against Bakasura solo. This is going to be a high-octane situation in the solo lane for both teams, and I'm curious to see how it's going to play. In fact, I think Variety can actually pull this out here with that Arachne up against the Bakasura.
That'll be an uphill battle, as Zelia is, as I mentioned before, known for his Bakasura, and for good reason. We saw some incredible stuff coming out from the solo laner in the qualifiers, so it's going to be an uphill battle in that solo lane.
It'll be tough.
And as I said, I will be looking towards the hunter lane. That is the most interesting to me, and I think Funballer won that pick ban phase for him. So let's take a look as we get into the game 1 minute before everything starts off. Trig on your left-hand side in blue. That long lane's going to be Funball on Freya with Trix Tank on Hercules. Finally gets to return to the Warriors.
I love the Hercules pickup here. Now, obviously, Bluestone makes Warriors a little more viable in solo in the support role just because they generally have a lot of trouble with mana. Now, up against Athena, actually, there's not many. In fact, there's no Guardians that really counter Athena very heavily. But Hercules is a pretty strong pick here because you can interrupt her initiation with a taunt. You can knock her up into a tower. And you can also disrupt anything that you're going to see across the way from Cupid. Cupid, a very slow character with that dash, driving strike, very strong against that. And, of course, a boulder in the face is something no tiny baby wants at any point in their life. You look at the lineup here for Dignitas, though, you see a lot of late game scaling. You got Mercury, you've got Arachne, you've got Isis, definitely one of the. In fact, Isis is a bit of a sleeper as far as the late game mages go. Most people don't expect a full distance spirit ball to the face to deal 1100 damage.
Isis is a character that we're seeing picked up a lot more in Season 2, and really it doesn't have anything to do with tangible changes to the game. I think people have just realized how powerful that ultimate is for taking objectives. It just creates such a deterrent to prevent anybody from really sniffing things out. Minions have spawned. Nothing really out of the ordinary here going on. Trig and Dignitas starting on their respective sides, picking up their own buffs, making to lane.
I like the assistance of the spiders here on the right side. Variety dropping a little bit low in the beginning. Of course, he'll be able to heal that back up. One of the reasons I do like Isis, and one of the reasons why we're seeing a little bit of Anubis as well, is the game's starting to slow down a bit in Season 2. It's not as, the first 5 minutes matters as much as it used to. And Isis is great at that. Obviously, the silence, the penetration. You've got a good long-range stun, plus the ultimate, good burst damage as well as good zone control. And zone control is highly valued in Season 2. So Isis pickup, I love it. The Raw pickup as well, a little bit different. In fact, I don't think we've ever seen this mid-lane matchup in Season 1 Esports.
Yeah, Ra versus Isis in the middle lane is a little bit of a throwback. It's actually a very good position to pick Isis into because of her early game push. Ra has a similar early game push, so one of the few characters that can stay on target with that. Lobster's very, very good on this Ra. Proficient on most mid-mages, frankly.
Yeah.
But his Ra is definitely something to write home about.
Is this a double rotation to back Harpies to take? Looks like Lobster's going to be privy to it, looking to steal it away with a single Celestial Beam. No rotation from solo lane just yet. Oh, looks like he didn't get one. That's unfortunate.
He tried to. Very interesting rotation coming out there. And speaking of rotations, we've got Isis headed to the right-hand side, along with the jungler and the solo laner. So this might be an okie doke, but Mjolnir's attunement gets Thor out of problems.
It's pretty helpful to be able to teleport, I would say. It's definitely helpful. Back to the solo lane, Zelia shows up here. You get that heavy hammer rocking, but no aggression, interestingly enough. Now, generally, if you see heavy hammer early, although it is a bit core on Bakasura considering what he's capable of, not really much pressure from it yet.
Yeah, no pressure coming out just yet. He wants to play this a little bit carefully. As we talked about, this matchup against the Arachne is very even. I sort of don't favor either of them. I think it's really up to the pilot. But as we pass the 2-minute mark, let's talk about one of the bigger changes coming into Season 2. If you noticed, teams did not start at mid-harpies because there were none. Those mid-harpies will spawn in about 30 seconds at 3 minutes. So keep an eye out for an even more consistent rotation from teams as we approach that minute mark.
Yep, 30 seconds left on that. And, you know, just bringing it back to the solo lane, look how much Zaylia is getting dominated here. I mean, every time he goes near the wave, the spiders pop out. They poke him back to his tower. I love this pickup from Variety. He's able to box out the boxer. Mercury on the left side, look for initiation, going to find some, but TRIG, of course, being Hercules, the man of men, unable to be taken down there. Looking for initiation here onto someone. No distance, no movement speed for him, and he'll have to go back.
This actually went the way of TRIG Esports right there. They got initiated on by Team Dignitas, but they dished out more damage than they were actually dealt because of that. That Freya pulse is just so powerful.
Well, they're trying to push him out of lane, right? Because TRIG has a gold lead right now, pretty significant. 500 gold at 3 minutes is pretty strong. Initiation on the right side, going to find Isis, but there's the ultimate. This is what I'm talking about. Those AoE initiation ultimates are so easy to slow down with an Isis ultimate. Initiation in the mid lane, looking for a top, going to find it. Not much follow-up here as they're at the mid camps. They're favoring that gold. And that seems to be the Dignitas strategy going forward, is just get as much gold as you can.
I love that move right there. One of the smaller one of the smaller mechanics that you can pull off with an Athena. Any channels, like a Berserker's Barrage coming out from Thor, you can taunt them right out of that. As she gets flipped early in the game, not very tanky is the support, and we might be looking at first blood, and we are! Lobster claims it, and the middle laner for TRIG Esports puts one on the board.
For us, I'm going to drive down the right side as well. Just damage coming out from Zaylia. Looks like the ultimate was used to drop. Rotation coming out. He's back to his team. He's got that heal coming out. Shonheimer looking for a Spirit Ball. A little bit eager here. I don't see a kill coming out of this just yet. Variety going to be pushed up in the air. The Driving Strike going to come out soon. There's a Berserker Barrage. There goes the hit. Oh, oh, nope. That's a Lobster right there. And I thought that the Driving Strike saved his life, but when in doubt, laser out.
I was about to say the same thing. Now, during that middle engagement, we had Zaylia on the right-hand side sneak out a kill onto the jungler Mercury and then run away. Came back to his team, and good teamwork. Lobster turns right around, provides the ultimate through the wall. One of the more exciting abilities you could really nail.
I was really surprised to see Dignitas go in on that one. That was not a favorable engagement for them by any means, and they decided to push it a little bit harder than they probably should have, especially losing Frezzy in the beginning. It's a difficult initiation, I think, and honestly, one of the biggest downsides of Athena is the fact that her preemptive strike can be blocked by enemy gods. If you hit a god, the dash will stop. Same thing for Sobek as well. One of the major weaknesses. We're going to see a Doom Orb coming out here for Sir Lobster. I feel like he just wants to sit at his tower and shoot those laser beams.
Doom Orb has been increasingly popular this time around. The old tagline is do more with Doom Orb, but you've actually reduced the price of it, making it very attractive, and it's so much
right
power.
side, look for Raki. Raki ultimate has been forced out. Variety will be going back to his tower here, and even though Variety was actually winning the early game, looks like actually going to get a little bit more gold per minute as well. In fact, XP per minute, the highest in the game is Variety up until that last one. Player damage, though, is going to go to Zaylia, and really, Zaylia is choosing his fights so expertly.
Yeah, Zaylia, like I said, this lane was really going to come up to the pilots, and while Variety is certainly no slouch, definitely one of the premier players in our league, Zaylia is one of the most... Zelia's Bakasura is perhaps one of the most talked about god-player combinations in all of the SPL. So Variety is definitely proficient and will win some of these fights, but it will be uphill, as we said in the pregame, because Zaylia is very well known for that character. Taking a look at Athena, she's going to play this one a little coy, folks. Not really sure if she wants to engage or not. She's going to get stunned, and she's going to get forced into one.
There's Driving Strike into the wall. Spirit Ball going to come out here. Trixtank's just buying time for the mid camps to go down. There goes the hit. There goes the ult. They're going to try to burst down Trixtank. Will able to get the raw ult is there. There goes the boom. The boom's going to miss. Trixtank is still alive, ticking up from that mitigate wounds. Up there goes Thor. Look for the dunk from above. Trixtank is still alive. There goes the damage on a Frostank. He's going to fall. Trixtank's going to fall as well. Shonheimer has an ultimate available. Going to drop that down shortly. Trixtank will go down, and there goes the drop. Funballer gets balled, gets dashed. The baby's on him. Good banish, but it's not going to be enough.
Ice is going to go ahead and claim the life of that one. Shadow Nightmare, who we haven't spoken enough about. Shadow Nightmare's mid lane Isis one of the scarier things. Almost as if we're going to talk a little bit about how Xaylia is known for playing Bakasura, Shadow Nightmare's Isis is equally known. Definitely something very scary, just as scary as the first Cold Fury of the game is claimed by the team in red. Team Dignitas claims that one and evens up the game. Actually, the game is virtually tied.
So let's go ahead and bring up player damage on the screen here. You can see that, earlier we were mentioning the fact that Xaylia was top player damage in the game.
Right.
That's not a Bakasura. In fact, that is Isis with 3,200 player damage. In that last fight, Shadow Nightmare dropped about 1,800 to 2,300 damage to enemy players. That's incredible. I mean, AoE damage, of course, going to be considered there, but drove that fight for his team very expertly. And TRIG had a great initiation, and a lot of cooldowns were used on him specifically, but TRIG was just not interested in the fight.
Key point right there coming out from the Isis was not the ultimate, but the Spirit Ball. Spirit Ball from almost a lane away came out onto Hercules, getting the stun, which was important for the kill, but more importantly for the stat you just brought up was the damage.
Right.
Of course, Spirit Ball does more damage the further it travels, so that long of a Spirit Ball is going to really leave a mark, and it certainly did as TRIG earned his first death of the game.
Yeah, it certainly hurts. Of course, Isis can choose where that ball does detonate, has the control over that as well. Looking at the itemization right now, you can see that Hasten Fatalis is complete here for Freya. Funballer not going for boots. It's kind of his trademark build. Right side, some damage going to Xaylia is going to go up. Looks like Thor is up in the air, actually, looking for a dunk. We'll be able to find it. Actually going to dunk back down the mid lane, looking for the damage on the Shadow. They're going to miss. Frezzy in trouble, dropping low. There's the taunt. There goes the ultimate coming out, but Lobster with that beam will find him in the end, forcing him out of the fight. Cubo Fred will drop Shadow Nightmare looking for a ball, but it's too little, too late.
I love the restraint being shown by Cubo Fred. Knew that he was in trouble, turned right around, used that Mulder's attunement to get out. This early game for a jungler is very, very rocky. If you get behind, if you die, it's very easy to fall behind.
Definitely.
So Cubo Fred, being ever present of that, wants to be very sure he doesn't die to something silly like under a tower.
Bakasura has finished that ever-present Ickball right now, and that turns him to a definite threat. Freya on the left side going to fight with Cupid actually forced out the ultimate from Funballer. Youngbay with a good play there and immediately disengaged the second that Valkyrie's discretion went up into the air. But, back to Bakasura, that Ickball, along with the Heavy Hammer and the crazy amount of damage you get from Warrior Top E, he is a serious threat right now.
Yeah, definitely one of the more scary things to happen is Cupid with that AoE ult coming out from the Hunter. Should he get ahead, that will be a force to be reckoned with. And taking a look, 10 to 10 are the levels on the two Hunters, 2 assists. We're only 1 on Freya, 47 to 51. So Cupid's leading by a little bit, by about 400 gold.
Box on the right side, though.
Stun down.
There's that stun. Okay, he just wanted to throw up all over them spiders and make sure they go away. He's going to be heading back to the base anyway. It could have just been to make sure no rotations come out. Now, you're going to see Isis pick up an early Enchanted Spear, going to be going into that Spear of the Magus here. Yep. And what we're seeing between some of the characters, a lot of people like going for Shoes of Focus, of course, getting that CDR. Some players like MLC Stealth likes going for the Warlock Sash early, but a lot of players now are favoring just getting heavy damage early, Doom Orbs, and going straight into Penetration or picking up a Bancroft's Talon right away, because they know that the team fights are starting a little bit earlier in Season 2 than they were in Season 1. The rotations happen a little bit faster, and so you really got to be ready for it.
One of the interesting things that I like about this build in particular, as we take a look on the right-hand side of the map, Thor going to be safe, no problem. But on Isis, she is similar to Giannis with Dry Bear in the sense that no ultimate coming out from Freya, actually.
Big bomb. There goes the burst up in the air. She goes. The bomb goes off. She's still alive. And that will be it. Funball with rotation. Thor on the dunk. There goes the hammer. There goes the wall as well. TRIG from the right side. Still very slow, though. Doesn't have as much speed as he would like. Rotation from Shadow will be regretted as it does not result in anything. But, of course, they will be rotating back into the mid lane. It was a strong counter initiation. And right now, F-Dot, we've got an almost perfectly even game.
It was a very strong counter initiation as we watch the jump in place. He wants to fight this one. He being Xaylia. Blue against red. Red very, very low. Will the Spider die? And he does. The ultimate comes out before the other. Xaylia claims the life one more time. And as we mentioned, this tower is already dead. It's been dead for a while. That was first rubble. Great stun in the middle lane. On the other hand, Cubo Fred trying to provide a little bit of help. A perfect setup for Lobster,
That's
but not
a going
enough
away
damage.
gift if I've ever seen one. Sending him back home and just saying, hey, think about me while you're gone. Here's a laser to your face. Honestly, that was a little strange on the right side, F-Dot. Variety, of course, had the ultimate available. I'm really curious as to why Nightcrawler was not used there. Now, obviously, a lot of players, when they're starting to get, more practice in the game, they hold on to their ultimates too long. And a lot of pro players realize that, it's better to pop that ultimate and get out of the fight instead of giving away the kill than it is to hold it for something you may not know happens in the future. I know I do it a lot. I hold on to my skills. I'm like, something better is going to happen soon. I know it. But it's just better to just pop that and get out of the fight. Keep yourself alive. Check out that itemization. You do see that Variety has picked up that Ickfall. And again, why Ickfall is so powerful? It's very cheap, 1,700 gold, but it also provides a big burst of attack speed and a little bit of penetration. As you hit enemy targets, you will steal their physical power and give it to yourself. This is not physical power gained. This is physical power stolen. So up to 30 power stolen from the target and give it to yourself, which means physical versus physical. It's a very good item. Exactly.
Now, two things about this item. One, it is basically boxing. It is the premier boxing item.
That's right.
You see it built by a lot of hunters. Its trick tank gets taunted into a lot of damage, even for a support. Hercules doesn't have mitigate wounds up. There it is, right there. Good counter ultimate coming out from Lobster. Will they kill Shadow? But a good dodge makes him get out safe. Cubo Fred will fall. Frostiak gets credit for that one, but here comes the Hunter, and that'll claim Lobster. That's a double kill for Frostiak. And the jungler on the side of Team Dignitas looking very, very pretty with the 2-2-1 slash.
That was just bad awareness and rotation coming out from TRIG Esports. Looking for rotation on Variety here. Variety does have the ultimate yet again. He's got a pop, or he's going to die. Up in the air he goes. There goes kind of initiation. Onto the Gold Fury they go. Damage coming down on that. Variety backing off. Tribe Strike's going to hit. They're playing it very careful. Funballer actually coming from the rotation, force them to disengage. Frastic has no ultimate. He's looking for the special delivery. If he goes up, he's going to find Zalia. There's the stun. Zalia in a lot of trouble. The silence is coming down. He jumps away. The heart bomb's on top. That big damage. Zalia's turning it back around. Might fight Youngbay. Youngbai's going to go down to Funballer. Zalia will fall as well. Shunheimer is there. They're going to disengage entirely. When it's all said and done, F-Dot, this is going to be a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of TRIG Esports. The Gold Fury is going on, though.
Yeah, Gold Fury fight right now. It is heavily, heavily contested. Funball will claim one with the Pulse Irradiate combo out of Freya. Almost gets the second, but that one gets credited to Cubo Fred as he nails that last hit. They're going to share the wealth as they pick up a Gold Fury. Last one went to Team Dignitas. Second Gold Fury of the game will undoubtedly go to TRIG Esports. I really don't think there's anything Frostiak can do here. Lobster will shove him out early. Hog, there's the good one. So after 14 minutes of play, folks, 9-5 read the kills. TRIG Esports pick up the second Gold Fury of the game, and that will give them about a 1,500 gold lead.
Yeah, honestly, the Gold Fury's got to feel pretty good right now. I mean, she must feel so wanted because these teams just keep going back and forth. And, that all began with a really, really poor rotation from TRIG Esports in the mid lane. We saw Cubo, literally one of my favorite plays of this whole game so far, is when he threw the wall down as Frostic was priming that Mercury ultimate and ran right into it. It was perfect counter. Cubo set it up, but the problem was Funballer wasn't there, Trickstank was a little bit late, and Zalia couldn't get to the mid lane in time. So because Dignitas rotated faster than TRIG, they got to the mid lane, they got that big team fight victory, and again, then Dignitas decided to back off the Gold Fury. Felt the heat, felt the pressure. In the end, TRIG pulled it out, but a lot of back and forth goes right side. Frostiak in trouble.
Ultimate coming out from the Bakasura. He's going to ultimately claim the life of his target. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Cupid kills his enemy Hunter, and they're aggressing onto the support. Cubo Fred, a lot of damage going onto him from the Cupid. Shield wall thrown down, but it's after he dies. Cupid adds another one to his tally mark, and that'll be the second kill for him.
Ooh, nice instant spear ball in the mid lane. Silence on top. Cubo's going to back away, but you see the burst damage capability of Thor as he hops right into it. They're going to be rotating over to the left side to take it down.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That play coming out from Shadow Nightmare on Isis, that is not easy to do. The 180 quick detonate ball coming out from Shadow Nightmare.
Thor's up.
Right here we've got
a
Thor ult.
Youngbay on the ground, looking great taunt to interrupt the beads immediately. There goes the wall, and he is dead to rights. Ouch. He's getting bullied into a corner here as Frezzy gets out of the fight, knowing that his Hunter is down. 16 minutes on the clock here, F-Dot. We've got 1,100 gold and 2,100 experience in favor of TRIG Esports. The Gold Fury will be down for quite a while here, just about 3 minutes. The Fire Giant is still standing, but no map presence will secure that just yet.
Yeah, Fire Giant, of course, spawns at 10 minutes, so only been up for about 6. Routinely don't see him get killed this early. You'll probably have to wait until about the 20-25 minute mark for teams to feel confident enough to pick that up. Of course, it's a lot stronger than the Gold Fury, even with the changes made to be able to dodge most of the damage. Just a really potent objective to deal with, so won't expect teams to look at that towards that direction until a little bit later. This boxing match in the solo lane just doesn't stop.
Oh, there goes the stun on Xaylia dropping away. And speaking of player damage, we've got 11,800 on Xaylia in the solo lane with Bakasura. Rotation in the mid lane, Trix Tank looking for it. But, you know, honestly, so far, this Hercules has not been as aggressive as they thought he would be. You see 0, 2, and 4 up on Trix Tank. He's got the rotational power, but I don't think it's actually at the fault of Trix Tank. I think it's just the fact that Trig is not rotating at the speed they would like. They're not getting the team fight in time and allowing Team Dignitas to have that leg up by making it 4v3 or 5v3 before the additional 2 players get there. And that's a huge gap for Trig.
Well, this has also been a motif of this match. Trix Tank has been caught out more than a couple of times, and with the combination of CCs and the Athena ultimate landing on top, Shadow Nightmare is going to get that kill. Unfortunately, Trix Tank, wrong place, wrong time. Taunts good, beads are better. Lobster, no problem.
That was awesome play by Frezzy, and he just went for that one more wave mentality, but instead he's like one more active cooldown. Again, Cupid in the air there, Cupid going up in the air, the bomb's gonna come out, he's gonna survive, but only just. Righty's heading home in the jungle here as we see Xaylia rotating over to pressure, but you know, the amount of aggression Dignitas is bringing to the table here, and keep in mind, they're behind right now. Yes. They are not in the lead, but they're acting like it.
Team Dignitas going to go ahead and siege down this tower. Only one person dead is Trix Tank, and he actually just spawns. But Team Dignitas has enough oomph right here in the middle lane to just 4-man push with the wave. They go ahead and claim that tower. So 4 towers left for TRIG Esports, 5 left for Team Dignitas. The only tower down for them is that solo lane that Xaylia got so early.
Look at this double attack speed item build coming out from Xaylia on Bakasura. He's finished off Odysseus' bow and Iqbal. Yeah. That's a total of 70% attack speed off of base, plus the chaining coming off as well. Odysseus' bow, of course, got a little bit of buff in the recent update. Now, instead of a percent proc chance, it procs every 4th hit. So it's a very, very available sword, especially if you attack faster and faster. So now you can be able to stick to targets, you know, with the heavy hammer. You put, you know, any kind of damage on this, some kind of crit, and he's going to just be flying off the chains.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing about why Bakasura is building the attack speed instead of raw power. Butcher Blades, which is really the bread and butter of this character, it provides true damage on all hits. And for those of you outside of the know, true damage is unmitigatable damage, and it does not get amplified by any sort of physical power. So you don't see a Heartseeker or Devo Gloves or any sort of real physical power contributor here in this build, because it's all about this window of time. Similar to Freya, you have Butcher Blades for about 6 seconds, as you can take a look at that right there. So you boost the attack speed, you get that much extra true damage per hit, and you fit as many hits as you can in that steroid window. Same mentality as Freya, so you'll see very similar items built.
Freya finished her core here. She's ready to roll out and use the effectiveness you just mentioned. Gold Fury is up and alive and not feeling as wanted as before. Everyone's setting up, but no one's really going for it just yet. Sovereignty has been finished here by Frezzy. Across the way, Sovereignty finished on Trix Tank. That aura is active and ready to go. Again, poor positioning from Trig might allow Dignitas to get initiation here. They're grouping up, but only just. There goes the Gold Fury being leashed back in. Trix Tank popping that mitigate wounds to stay back alive. This is the point now where Athena's going to start taking over here. The banish prevents the shot from Lobster. A huge mistake from TRIG Esports, and the fight continues on here, but at what cost?
Very unfortunate situation, but fortunately for Trig, they've split up their enemy team. 5 members in blue against only 3, as the rest of Team Dignitas is a little bit behind. Cubo Fred being chased outside of the Cupid ult, but now surrounded. That's going to help him with his passive. He gets 1 kill. Funballer gets the other kill, and the fight rages on with Frostiak stuck in between 4 members of TRIG Esports. He's going to safely get away by using special delivery. And that'll be 2 kills on the side of Team Dignitas. TRIG Esports don't lose a single member, and they will once again look at the Gold Fury. TRIG Esports looking to propel their lead even more so, and they'll put that one in the coffers.
Back to the Gold Fury, securing that one. Looking at the gold right now, you can see 2,700 in favor of TRIG Esports. They've got a pretty hefty 4,000 experience lead as well. Trix Tank looking to force the fight. Actually missing a special delivery is going to be Frostiak. Driving strike. There goes the damage. The searing pain is all he feels as Frostiak gets picked off there in the mid lane. And we do see Frezzy kind of hanging out here, but not much he can do. This 500 gold tier 1 tower will be a token of victory for TRIG Esports, and they'll be backing off.
Xaylia on the it's Xayah has the player has allowed Bakasura the character to get to the point where it is. Bakasura just absolutely shreds these towers.
Bakasura has always been one of those quick attackers, right? He's able to top that tower down. The right side, Xayah going to secure that. The fire giant is still standing. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all he wants, right? Just be able to clear those things down. Fire Jet has no wards on it right now, and honestly, it's getting to be about that time. And they need to start warding that up, make sure they have the vision on it. Now, as far as scaling goes, right, you're going to see Freya and Bakasura start to fly off right now. Hercules and Thor will start to fall down, and Ra will stay about where he's always been. He doesn't really have any up and downs. He's just always good all game long. We see across the way, Frostiak needs to start picking up that damage, and they need the Youngbait as well. But again, Cupid starts to fall off towards the late game without a natural steroid that's accessible, right? He's got it on the flutter with his dash. At the end of the dash, he'll have it, but that's not something you want to use actively unless you know you have a good initiation. It could go poorly. So, I mean, across the board, again, and like my earlier point, the support will now start to heavily favor Dignitas. And the late stages of the game, you'd much rather have Athena than you would Hercules.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a team sort of thought. The Athena's going to work very, very well on the side of Team Dignitas just to be able to set up some really, really clutch spirit balls along with some good ultimates coming out from Youngbait being able to taunt into that Cupid ultimate. You know, the Hercules is still a powerful thought with the repositioning he can use with his 1 and 2 abilities, but like you said, it's really going to get to the point where you can sort of just ignore the Hercules, which is what happens to a lot of the support Hercs. And it's up to TRIG Tank to really force himself to be unignorable.
Interesting pickup here from Shadow Nightmare. He's going for a very low damage build. He's got full CDR with Chronos, shoes him focus, and then goes right into that Spear of the Magus just to pick up full pen. Now, you put Rod on that, and he's excellent, right? He's got a lot of CDR. His ultimately got a very short cooldown. He's also got full actives here. He's able to keep himself defensible the entire game long. We got an early Deathbringer from Frostiak on Mercury, looking for that great banish on the left side, run Fumballer. But, you know, these builds are definitely quite diverse, considering what we saw in Season 1. Nice body block from Cubo. Keeps him right inside, and the Cupid is done.
Very, very, very good. Small play. I mean, it's one of those things where the details are really what make the story, and that's exactly what happened. You called out the body block. That's exactly why Cupid could not get through, and that's going to secure the kill for TRIG as they continue to push down this left-hand side. Good teleport coming out from Team Dignitas. This should be enough for a shove off of the tower, but not really going to be able to turn this around onto a kill unless TRIG wants to go back in, which is an interesting choice. There's only 2 members here, but here comes her.
They're rotating over. TRIG wants some initiation here, forcing the Nightcrawler back in the tower. It goes Variety. They're looking for the Spirit Ball. Not going to find it. Celestial Beam not going to hit either, but TRIG driving the front line. Great taunt to interrupt. Did the Earthbreaker go on cooldown? It did, actually. That was a perfect counter initiation. Spirit Ball going to miss. Looking for this right side tower. It's going to be falling down. There goes the hit. Wall coming out as well. And forcing him back into the base here. Now, of course, they got the ultimate available on Frostiak. The Gold Theory won't be up for another minute or so. But Firejet is still standing. Good vision across the board. It was a good play by both teams, I think.
Right. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this Isis build that you brought up earlier. Isis is, I mentioned, well, Kivo's going to stop me real quick as Thor goes into the air, lands in the backhand side, trying to get onto that Isis. No good stun, but the ultimate from Lobster is going to be fine.
The double hit.
But really no fight.
I love the fact that he went walking Aegis, right? He's got the bees, of course, down. Both are on cooldown. You can see that in the bottom right corner of the screen. Both his actives are on cooldown. Now, the Gold Theory spawning about 37 seconds means that TRIG Esports is pretty well set up for it. Dignitas ended up using just one ultimate prior. Of course, you got that Nightcrawler, which is about 20 seconds left on that. He'll have that for the next engagement. Heading back to the base is Isis. What's he going to go for? Looks like he's going to pick up that Lost Artifact, which undoubtedly means that Rod at Tahuti getting that scale up. Like I mentioned earlier, when you have this kind of utility-based build, just slap a Rod on it, and then you're good to go. I mean, you've already got the penetration from the Spear of the Magus.
Right.
Now, looking at this, it looks like we've got a Lotus Crown picked up here by Lobster, and that's going to be a huge benefit. For those of you who have not used this item just yet, it's a new item in Season 2. High amount of magical power, some physical protection, and MP5. But what it does is anytime you heal yourself or any other god with an ability, you gain a big Protect All bonus. That's physical and magical protections, a big gain.
It's going to help his teammates out a lot as we're mousing over it right now. It's all about that passive, folks. 20 physical protection and 20 magical protection for 5 seconds whenever you're healed. And Ra, of course, can heal the entire team with his Solar Blessing. So that's going to be a very big boon. Sneaky Gold Fear came out for TRIG Esports, just going to catapult them even further in the lead. And let's take a look at that lead as we're talking about. 26.5 minutes into our contest. Game 1 of set 1 of the SPL Day 1. 15-8 read the kills, but that gold difference so much bigger. Almost 8,000 gold separate these two teams, along with almost 10,000 experience. So TRIG Esports sufficiently in the lead, and Team Dignitas just trying to hold on.
They're looking for variety. Of course, the ultimate again, I would imagine, dropping him low. There goes the heal. There goes the Fist of the Gods. Up in the air he goes. There goes Nightcrawler forced out. And almost every fight here, variety is forced to use that ultimate to initiate or to just disengage entirely. So it's a tough situation for him to be in. The Fire Giant is still standing, and honestly, with how fast Bakasura and Freya took down that Gold Fury, it's a viable option for TRIG at this point in the game. They've got a pretty significant lead of 7,800 gold and nearly 10,000 experience. And for those of you who don't know, when you start crossing that 10K threshold on either, that's when it's serious.
Yeah, 10,000, 5 digits is a pretty big tell that, hey folks, we're in the lead and we can start making some really aggressive plays, as you're hinting at making an aggressive play towards the Fire Giant. I'd like to see them get a pick, at least one pick, before they go ahead. I think that if they really wanted to, they could muscle this out, but I think they want to tip scales into their favor because they are not home free just yet. We have seen teams come back from much, much worse. And they are no means, running away with this completely. They're still not at that 10,000 gold mark. 7,600 gold is very reachable for Team Dignitas as they're taunting the support. And now here comes Thor trying to turn things around, but he gets stopped by a beautiful play coming out from Mercury. Bakasura is going to ult, but everybody will run. Zelia will pick up one. Thor's looking for a stun, but they're too smooth. 2 dashes will get out of it. They're going to dive, though. Cubo friend to the right-hand side. Kicked out of it is Frezzo. Funball gets that one. 5 members of TRIG Esports deep. And that's the pick or two that I was talking about, Dry Bear. And with that, they will feel very, very confident to go ahead, engage on this Fire Giant, and take it with... Doesn't even look like Team Dignitas really wants to fight it.
One of the most scary things in Smite is knowing when and when not to initiate on the support.
Yeah.
It can go so poorly or go so well. Shadaimer in trouble, popping that walking Aegis. There goes the ultimate coming out from Freya, avoiding that counter initiation from Cupid. But again, I mean, they jumped on Trick's tank there. They thought it was a good fight. But if you initiate on the support when his teammates are nearby, you're in so much trouble because you wasted a lot of cooldowns and a lot of damage on a support that's going to heal it right back up. And that it's almost nullified, right? But they thought, okay, maybe if he's out of position, we kill him. It's a free Fire Giant for us. They don't have that Hog 3 up and available anymore. So that is secure. TRIG got a great team fight there. Team Dignitas had to take different routes and then they disengage on that last team fight. Shadaimer had to go up. Everyone else went right. Bakasura funneled him into a tunnel there and just gobbled him up. And at that point, it was just free TRIG. Now, Dignitas is not out of it just yet, F-Dot. They definitely have a chance to come back here. 10,000 gold. What they really have to do is just play out time and wait for that Fire Giant buff to fall off. Once that falls off, they have a chance. Right now, they can't play.
And right in the middle lane, they did provide a little bit of defense. Didn't really do much, but show their faces, and it was enough to send TRIG packing. They go ahead and they retreat without taking out that tower just yet. So, interesting choice coming out from TRIG Esports. Good play. Just want to play it safe before they really get into any trouble. And Funball going to head up over here to the left-hand side. He wants to get that purple buff because this buff it is still important. Still the 15% attack speed, I believe, along with extra magical damage on those basics, and that's all she's about is those basics. And
one thing we saw in the last fight, we were mentioning Lotus Crown earlier, when you see a giant green bubble appear on everyone, that means that they have the Lotus Crown buff. It's protection of the Lotus. That means that they have the Protect All on them. Both physical and magic protections increase. So you saw, right as they counter-initiated on the initiation on Trick's tank, drop the heal up on top of Trick's tank, the green bubble appears, and they're all in a safe zone. And that's really the power of Lotus Crown and what it can influence. At this point in the game, Dignitas has a lot of damage capability, but you can see the difference of team gold that makes on supports, right? You can see that Frezzy right now just barely working towards the Heartward Amulet, whereas across the way, just because of team gold, Trick's tank has got the Heartward Amulet finished and going right into the Adventurer's Blade.
TRIG pushing down this middle lane. Dignitas looking at about 3 players. Azalea's on the right and Funball's on the left. Looks like they're going to go ahead and coalesce right here in the middle lane. They want to just siege this while their Fire Giant buff is still live. There goes the heal. That's going to provide all those protections we talked about. Team Dignitas wants to be very, very careful as to how they initiate and when they initiate. Hero Fred going to go ahead and toss him in there and teleport right in. He's going to be very aggressive as Trickster lays it down. Tanks the tower. Zelia will claim the life of Isis.
Little split up here for TRIG. They're going for both right and middle. Phoenix, Mercury ultimate on 3. There goes the Cupid ultimate down onto 2, forcing him out of the fight. There goes the hammer. Big damage from Zalia. The gobble's coming through. Youngbay in a little bit of trouble here. Shenheimer will fall, looking for a hit on Variety. Frosting's trying to get out. The damage is too much. TRIG has yet to lose a single player. Rampage for Cubo. Fred Deicide comes on out, and TRIG will dunk down onto this last standing level of defense. The Titan, down it goes. TRIG Esports takes the game in swift fury.
Zalia on Bakasura.
Gobble, gobble.
717. I believe that's an area code.
Is it?
717. 7 kills, 7 assists, only 1 death for the solo laner coming out from TRIG Esports. Very, very strong play coming out from him. And I mean, all of the members of TRIG had just outstanding games, really. 3-1-11 for the mid laner coming out of Ra.
The stats are strong.
And Funball 6-2 and 7. So just positive looks all over the board for TRIG Esports.
Well, 15,000 healing comes out as well in the mid lane there. And of course, we saw a very defensive build from Lobster. We saw the Warlock Sash come out, the CDR there, the Duomar to boost his damage up while he went straight into the utility. Of course, the Lotus Crown helps so much. And, you know, across the board, I think that TRIG is really showing how strong of a team they are. Funball played it very safe in the long lane, while we saw a lot of rotations from Cubo Fred. We saw some slow rotations in the mid game from TRIG Esports. We saw Dignitas winning, you know, the majority of the first 15 minutes. But once that second Gold Fury hit, of course, Dignitas got the first one. The second one went to TRIG, and it was all downhill after that. They started coming together, using that late game prowess. And right when we saw Cupid start to fall off, welcome to Bakasura and Freya, baby.
Very true. And as you said, it all starts somewhere. And we're going to start off with the first blood. This happened in the middle lane very early on in the game. Let's take a look right now. Right hand right beside Lobster. He's on that Ra.
The downside of that.
A good push, yeah. Basically, it's a great push coming out from the support. And then Lobster just provides a little bit of damage. And that'll be enough to claim the first blood. And it teetered off a little bit from there, went both ways until eventually TRIG found their footing and pushed on further. But that first blood on Lobster on Ra is really not something you want to watch out for. So let's talk a little bit about the other side before we come back to this team, because I'm sure there's going to be more we want to say about TRIG. Shadow Nightmare. I wanted to talk about this build, and Cubo Fred kept ganking and would not let me. So Shadow Nightmare went on Isis, cooldown boots, Spear of the Magus into another piece of cooldown, Chronos Pendant. It's a great build. It's full utility. What happens is Isis is a mage like Giannis that could sort of provide a lot of support. So you get full CDR. It allows you to get those silences out. It allows you to really get those stuns out. And you're less focused on the strength of just burst damage and more focused on the strength of the wide breadth of that kit. And you're able to do so much with that CDR.
You know, what I'm focused on right now is actually the player of the game, and it's going to be Zalia this time around. That's going to be Bakasura, and man, what a crazy play. And like I was mentioning, Variety actually won the first few, actually level 5 of the solo lane, pushed him all the way back into the base, and he played so fantastically. A lot of decisions were made here. And you can see he really knew when to jump and when to initiate, when to counter-initiate, and when to fight. He was very careful in his positioning, and that's what Zalia has always been known for. Just punished everything that came out. And Zalia, I think, kind of showed what Bakasura can do and why he's so great in the solo lane. I mean, his ganks aren't so great from the jungle, right? But when you put him in the solo lane, he gets a lot of free gold, a lot of free farm. He's able to kind of get that threshold of farm that he needs. Now, look at his build, of course, with a lot of early attack speed and then benefited from the heavy hammer that he picked up. And, of course, right after the attack speed, went straight into Executioner Rage. So gives him a little bit of pen. Of course, a little more attack speed. He's capped at that point and then goes right into Rage for crit. And crit is all he needed to just balance out that build, a little more damage on top. You know, and looking for the right target is difficult for characters like Bakasura, because once you commit, you don't really have anything else, right? If you use their jump, use the takedown, you're like, oh, they're over there? Well, I'll waddle my butt over there, hoping I get there in time, but that's about it. Yeah,
I mean, Bakasura is just incredible. I mean, you know, we talked a little bit about in the pregame. You leave lane, you're going to lose your tower, and Bakasura took the first tower of the game. Of course, Zalia is the one that took the first tower of the game very, very early on. Yeah. I think around 11 minutes.
Crazy push there. So that's going to be it for the first game of this best of 3 between TRIG Esports and Team Dignitas. We're going to cut to a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back at you with more action. Stick around.